I'm Vanessa Suarez, and I am the founding director of Vivan Las Autonomas.
And I'm Nika Zeresvand. I'm a co-director at Vivan Las Autonomas.
Vivan Las Autonomas is a grassroots org that is based here in New Haven, and we work with victims and survivors of gender-based violence to not only share their stories, but to also make a change in our communities to take a stand against gender-based violence.
So we support victims, we also support survivors, we support families of victims, with challenges through their cases, but also in the healing and art therapy process.
So our work was born really out of a exhibition we did called Women Who Fight, Mujeres que Luchan. And from that, we learned how we could use art as a powerful tool in the community to really start having those conversations to address how gender-based violence shows up in our communities, right? And so since then, we've used art as a different way to advocate. And so we've started cohorts with groups of women. We've done embroidery. We've also done different community exhibitions that create a safe space for women to gather, but more than that, share our stories and try to connect with folks in the community of what is the impact this kind of violence has, not just directly on victims, but our loved ones and our families. We started Vivan Las Autonomas after doing some grassroots campaigns to support women, specifically undocumented women and Black women who were experiencing a lot of domestic violence and who were not being supported by the different domestic violence service agencies or even the agencies that are tasked with addressing sexual violence at the workplace. And so we went from helping these women in a one-on-one level to really establishing not just an organization, but a space that women who are navigating different forms of violence, and whether they're seeking help from the courts or a legal process, or simply just trying to escape that violence and find a safe place, this is the kind of space that we created. And it's also born out of my own experience as a survivor of child sexual abuse, and as someone who's sought justice in the legal courts, and my own story has shown me the many challenges that are in place and just how hard it is and how isolating the process makes it for victims, not just to heal and move forward, but to actually get justice in a real way, in a way that lets us feel safe and protected from the violence that we experience.
We're really, being with the Better Way Foundation has been a great experience, having mentors who have started organizations themselves and have led organizations from the ground up that are still a part of a better way, right? So there's this legacy of grassroots orgs focused on organizing and supporting local communities, getting financial support and learning kind of how to also create their own financial autonomy. And then in terms of reaching out to and working with local arts organizations and departments that are funding arts work has been great. I think we're still in the process of building those relationships, but we're really grateful that there's also such a legacy of vibrant arts in New Haven and support from funders. We are really excited to create, an art space and a collective healing space that's also focused on women and their healing and foregrounding that. And so working with others on kind of finding the intersections of our work is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I would say we've grown a lot, especially since getting fiscal sponsorship. Our first campaign that we undertook in 2020 was Justice for Elizabeth Alemán Popoca, who was murdered in July of 2020 by her then partner. And, in March of 2023, we launched our second campaign, which was Justice for Roya Mohammadi, whose body was found in the West Haven River. And I think that, as our organization grows, it's also a testament, not just to the work, but specifically to the kinds of violence that we're seeing show up in New Haven, in West Haven, and throughout the state of Connecticut. Every single month, there is a femicide in a city in Connecticut. And we're not looking at it or addressing it or responding to it as a femicide. We don't have a law that recognizes femicide. and therefore the way that our agencies, government agencies, are responding to it, including our social service agencies, fails to address the fatal consequences that women are actually experiencing on a regular, consistent level in Connecticut. And so a lot of our work, our organizing, and our cultural work is to raise awareness on femicide and how that is a very real issue showing up in Connecticut, and to work towards addressing and eradicating that violence. Our main focus is always to center the voices and the experiences of those directly impacted by gender-based violence. And so for us, that looks like specifically reaching Black, Brown, Indigenous, trans women, and making sure that as we grow and our programs grow, that it's specifically servicing the distinct needs that they have. Gendered violence impacts all women differently. And it's important that as a community we come together to specifically address the women that we are failing, and whose deaths we consistently are reading about in our community is Black and brown women. And so we want to make sure that we can be there to show up for those women.
So we really invite everyone to get in touch with us on Instagram or Facebook. You can join our mailing list through the links on our social media, where we're going to update you with, workshops that we're doing, events, demonstrations, as well as opportunities to get involved civically, in the city of West Haven and the city of New Haven, advocating for women. So please get in touch with us. We'd love to kind of connect with you and see what you're interested in, and invite you to our events personally.
And some exciting events we have coming up is our Arts Festival in July. We also have a Day of the Dead event that we are doing in November called our Dia de Muertas. And it is a night in which it is an annual event that we do to honor women who have passed in our community. And so we invite you to be a part of that. We're going to be doing several workshops leading up to that event. And so it's going to be super fun. And again, all ages, and we welcome all children, of course.